Let's face it, I think we've had this overly romantic notion about doing business with China, specifically the Chinese Communist government. Meanwhile, since China began flooding US markets with artificially cheap products, over 57,000 US factories have disappeared, 25 million Americans can't find jobs, and now we owe more than $1.3 trillion to the world's largest totalitarian regime. Let's call them the Galactic Empire. Look, China is not a free enterprise economy, but rather a state corporate economy controlled by the mafia, the Communist Party, the same dictatorship that since 1949 has killed 70 million of its own people, 1.2 million Tibetans, and enforced death laws like the one-child policy where there's been a shocking 300 million forced abortions. Let's not forget about how they're currently persecuting tens of millions of Christians, Falun Gong meditators, and look what's happening in Hong Kong recently with the Umbrella Revolution. Hi, I'm Kian Wong, producer of the documentary film Free China, and with me today are 5 freedom-fighting superheroes here to discuss the top 5 deadly facts about Made in China. Coming in at number 5, we have YouTube superstar Ben Hedges of A Foreigner's View of China and Taiwan.
Made in China rip-offs. Well, for decades now, the Chinese regime has bribed manufacturers to set up in China by offering illegal export subsidies. But they don't just want your jobs and factories destroyed, they want to steal your valuable intellectual property. Even before the latest iPhones are out, locals are buying fake rip-offs. And then there's Google, who actually left China after repeated cyber hackings.
Indeed. And here's number 4 from Beijing-born Cece Lee of Food Paradise.
Made in China food scandals. There's deadly baby milk powder, exploding watermelons. There's even toxic tilapia, codfish, and oh my gosh, even arsenic-laced apple juice. You know, Kian, in the US, over 50% of these products are from China, the world's worst polluter. And with 70% of rivers in China already contaminated, you should really think twice before buying them.
Thank you, Cece. Now at number 3, from the irrepressible Chris Chappell of China Uncensored.
Forget about competing against cheap labor, Kian. Let's talk slave labor. In 2013, CNN reported the story about an SOS message smuggled inside a Halloween toy. It revealed the horrors of the slave labor system in China, where millions still languish despite the regime's so-called plans for reform.
Thank you, Captain Chris Chappell. Next, number 2, joining us from California, Dr. Greg Altry, co-author of Death by China.
I'm Batman.
So when you buy Made in China, you're financing an aggressive dictatorship that censors media, created the Great Internet Firewall, and is running a global propaganda machine. Furthermore, according to the Financial Times, China is now poised to overtake the US as the world's leading economic power. Perhaps more disturbing, it's predicted that China will have a navy larger than the US by 2020.
Yikes. And finally, Jedi Knight Dr. Noto, spokesperson for Doctors Against Forced Organ Harvesting.
Since 2006, according to independent investigative reports and numerous internationally published books, an estimated 65,000 innocent Falun Gong meditators have been killed on demand for their organs. And the Chinese regime gets away with this by lying to the world. The truth is, it's a genocide. It's a crime against humanity, and it must be stopped.
Wow. Thank you all. So, if you don't want a communist dictatorship from taking over the world, don't just become a more conscious buyer. Instead, we need to encourage the Chinese people, also those in Hong Kong and Taiwan, to stand up for their own freedoms. And there are 2 simple ways you can help. Firstly, simply share this video right now and tag 3 or more friends this Tear Down the Internet Firewall challenge. It's all about creating awareness and inspiring change. Next, discover what's really happening inside China by watching the award-winning film Free China online for just $5. The money raised will contribute to NTD, a non-profit TV network that's breaking through the internet firewall and delivering uncensored information to and from China. In fact, come January 23rd, World Freedom Day, NTD will be broadcasting Free China into China via satellite and the internet entirely for free. So, as we spread this message of courage and freedom, help us reach our goal of at least 1 million views of the film. Help us tear down the great internet firewall of China, brick by brick. Up next, check out the film's campaign trailer and then watch Free China.